Hey guys, it's Despicable Bros here. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on 3 different things that I found were pretty helpful when I started using Blender recently, and they're just kind of basic things that a lot of people I find don't talk about much. So today I'm going to cover making just a simple fire animation. I'm going to also cover doing defocusing, so having like a little focus effect to your renders. And finally I'm going to show you how to make a nice, simple, good looking render for your world in Minecraft. Let's get started. Alright, so here I just have a simple little map set up, and essentially it's just 3 planes, and what you want to do is first add a cube, and this cube is going to be your block of fire like you see in Minecraft. So if I go into the camera view, place it there. Alright, now I have a bunch of images I'm going to upload, and it's in the link below the video. And just click on that, and there's about 64 images, and these images are just the sequence they're going to need, and they're going to basically animate your block for you so it looks like fire. So what I'm going to do is just close all these, start everything brand new. Alright, so first go into the Materials tab, just add a material to the block. Go into the Textures tab, and add a material. So what you first want to do is add an image or movie. You're going to find, or I'll open up so I'll show you what I mean. So these are all the images you'll get, and just select the first one and open that. And then what you want to do is open this into the UV editor, and what you want to do is you select your block, go into tab, edit mode, and unwrap it. And you basically just want to UV match it to the fire. So let me open up the fire that we opened, the first one, the PNG number 1. And basically just turn on texture so you can kind of see what's going on, and you just want to make sure with face select on down here that all of your UVs kind of match up. So, oh, and first, sorry, you can delete the top face and the bottom face. You won't need those because they won't show up anyways. Alright, head back into texture mode. Sorry about the guys, sorry. So anyways, what you want to do is, I forgot to, in the Textures tab, go down to Image Mapping, and just change that to the UV. There we go. So now what you want to do is kind of just set up so everything's right. So rotate that until everything seems about good. If you hold Control, then it'll snap it to the pixels better while you're doing that rotation. So the whole thing, spin around so you can see in the light. I'll spin that around again, holding Control so it snaps to the pixels. Right about there. And just do this to all 4 sides until they're all set up. And the last one. Perfect. Also, just one more thing before we keep going. When you're finished this, usually there'll be like some weird glitchy lines at the top, and that's just because up here in your UV map, it automatically sets it a bit too high, so it automatically goes on to the next one. So all you want to do is just grab the top pieces with C, and then hit G and Y, and just bring it down a tiny bit. And that won't affect too much, but that means it won't capture the top, and you won't have these glitchy lines at the top. So just quickly do that to every single one. Select the top 2 vertices, G and Y to move it down just a bit. And G, Y, down a bit, and G, Y, down a bit. Alright, perfect. So now when we render it, see we got our basic cube, and that's how the fire is going to look like, and there won't be that gray block stuff anymore there. First we just have to do something quickly. We have to go into the Textures tab, and you just want to uncheck some options, so uncheck this in Image Sampling, Map, Interpolation, and change this to Box, and that'll just make it clear so when you render it, it looks nice now. Alright, so basically what we just did is we mapped the image onto the block, telling it this is how we want it to look like when it's animated. So what you want to do is you want to open another one, so just add, do number 2, so click on the second one, and essentially this is going to be now your image sequence. So this changed to image sequence. Sorry, let me just check something. Yeah, alright. So anyways, with number 2 selected, go into image sequence and then scroll down, and you can see all these things. Now, you're going to change this to 64 because that's how many pictures there are. That's how long the cycle is. So that means for every 1 frame, there's one of these images. And then you can change, so check these two off. And everything looks good. Change that to UV. Should be already set to UV, and then check off alpha. And I think that's everything. Perfect. So now what happens is, if we render it, you can see that the alpha is now gone. We can fix that later, but if I scroll through, it should, there we go. So you can see it's already doing, what's happening is all 64 of these images you see in the folder, what's going on is that scrolling through all of these and acting as an image sequence. And the reason it's in this position is because you UV map the first one, so it tells it where to go, kind of. Alright, so we got that set up. Now we just gotta get rid of this black stuff here on the side, and that's where the alpha will be, so that will be see-through. So what you gotta do is go into the materials tab, and you're gonna find, oh, change emit to 1, because fire glows, unless you don't want your fire to glow. And then go in transparency, and there it is. So change the alpha to 0, and now you can see that your fire is see-through. And if we render an image of that, that's how it'll look like. And one more thing you need to do, I already set this up beforehand, but before you finish, you will have to do this to your objects, kind of pain in the butt, but go in the materials tab for every object in your scene, and what happens is you have to check off receive transparent. That won't be checked off, I did that earlier. And essentially what that means is, you can see if I check it off, the plane doesn't register the alpha from the fire, so it still acts as if this is a block, not a fire, where you can see to the human eye right there, there's no spaces. So, sorry, one more thing before we finish up. I totally forgot to mention this, but just a little important detail. When you go into your fire, go into the textures tab, and you want to make sure that under this tab, image sampling, you want to change this to 0.1. And that just kind of helps with the filter. And if you change the resolution, you have a nice looking fire. And yep. Hey guys, so this is part 2 of the tutorial. In this part, I'll be showing you how to do the defocus thingamajiggy with the nodes. It's very simple, and also just how to make a good looking render for your Minecraft world. And before I continue, I'd just like to mention ChickenKeeper24. You should check him out. He's a pretty awesome YouTuber. He does Minecraft animations with Blender, and I'll provide a link in the bottom. If you haven't seen him, you should definitely check him out. And he was actually the guy who showed me how to do the fire stuff. So yeah, you should check him out. Alright, so I've already imported a world from Mineways, and if you don't know how to do this already, it's very simple. There's a lot of tutorials online. I've set up everything, and if we render it, we get something that looks like this. So it's a basic kind of world. It doesn't look too good, but it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty bad, actually. We'll fix that. So first what we want to do is turn your lamp into a sun lamp. Just move that over here. Just position it however you want. Some cool lighting. That looks pretty good. You get your camera set up and everything. Perfect. But first we're gonna do the sun lamp. So change that to like a yellowy orange color. And turn that up to 3. And you can, not 300. You can adjust this, and like I said, you can kind of just play around with it and figure out what you like. And whatever suits you best. And it, like, different scenes will matter with different things. So if you want like a night scene, you can change it maybe darker, whatever you want to do. Alright, sorry. So anyways, what we want to do is check off the sky and change that to 6. Now these are all, you can change these how you want them to look like, but this is kind of like a basis, I guess you could build everything off of that. Change that to multiply. And change that to maybe 0.5. Brightness to let's change that to a 5. And change the size to 4. And it should look good like that. I think that's fine. Just render that quickly. That's decent. Change that camera resolution up. Alright, perfect. So, I think that's all you need for, let me just think. Oh, one more thing. You need to, in the shadows option, go into sun shadow, turn on ray shadow, change the samples to like, the more samples you have, the better it looks. Like 6 to 10 is good, but the more samples you have, the longer it'll take. So let's do 7. And soft size, let's change that to, change it to 8. Perfect. Alright, so when you render that out, it should look something like this. So it's starting to get, and you can see now that we have like a light that's kind of acting as the sun, so you can see like the shadows are now facing the right direction to some degree, and it's looking a bit better. So now what you want to do is add the world modifiers tab, and this is what's going to make it look really good. So you want to change it to like a white color, and put that a bit darker. Turn on that. Ambient occlusion, set to multiply, environmental lighting, and for ambient occlusion, yeah, keep it at 1, and then turn the environmental lighting to a 0.1. Let's do that. Perfect. Go down a bit more, change the distance to 5. Let's try that. 0.5 for activation. And again, samples, I think you can keep that at 5. Yeah, boost it up a bit. That should be fine. Fall off. Do maybe 0.3? Let's do 0.3. You can add mist if you want, but that just means that you can fiddle around these, and so your camera in the distance, if you're looking up, stuff would fade the farther it gets away, and you can change when it fades and all that. But for now, we don't really need it because our scene's relatively close, so we'll just uncheck that. And I think that's good. So if we take a render, you can see our scene is already looking pretty nice. So finish. Oh, sorry, one more thing we forgot too. Environmental lighting, you want to change that to sky texture. That's what we're missing. Because that'll basically mean it kind of reacts as we set up in the lamp, the sky lamp, sorry, the sun lamp. It'll react to that. Right, it's looking good. Perfect. I should move the sun lamp a bit closer. I think I'm just gonna turn up the sun lamp just for my own preference. I think it's a bit too dark for the scene. Let's turn the energy for the sun lamp up to 5. Oh, that's a bit too bright. 3 should do. And this is all just really fiddling around trying to get what you like best. And that looks good. Perfect. Shadows are pretty dark there. Maybe it won't be so angled, a bit less angled. I'll change it. Yeah, so you can just fiddle around with everything and get what you kind of like best. And so next thing we need to do is we need to go to all the materials, go into materials tab, and like we did in the first part, just do receive transparent. So for all the materials you have in your scene, just kind of check those off. That should help with the shadows. Check those off. Check those off. Perfect, I think that's good. But I forgot to mention one thing. The reason it was looking a bit weird, the render wasn't so good, was because in the sun lamp tab, you want to change under the lamp properties, change this to 0.05, not 0.5. That's what we had it set to. And it looks kind of green. It's weird. But that's wrong, you don't want it. So change that. Turn up samples a bit and give it a render. It should look a bit better. Yeah, so that looks a lot better. And the main thing, you don't really want to fiddle with the brightness on the sun lamp as much. That's more for if you want like day or night. But if you want to change the actual kind of brightness of your scene, you just want to go into your environments tab, and right here, the environmental lighting, just change that, and that'll affect how dark you're getting. So you can see, for example, if I turn that back down to 0.2, that render, let's render that. You can see it kind of gets darker. You can fit around with the settings, find something you like. That's the gist of that. Now let's cover the last thing really quickly. The defocus node. So this is something this was something I figured out recently. Sorry, and I think it's pretty cool. It's really simple, it's not as hard as I thought it'd be. And this is just to get kind of a, I mean, depending on how much you want, like a really deep defocus or a really light defocus. And it gets a cool little, it gives it a cool effect, I like it a lot. Alright, so what you want to do is just get your camera somewhere, just set up the render scene. I think that's too dark. Turn it back up to 1. Perfect. Alright, so we have our little scene, we'll let that render, and what you want to do is we're going to use nodes, and it doesn't really matter if you've used nodes or not, but they're not too hard, especially what we're doing. So what you want to do is open a node editor tab, scroll down, open node editor, check off use nodes, auto render, and backdrop, and what you want to do, part. So first go into output in add, and you're going to add a viewer. And FBC just allows you to see what's going on. There we go. So now you can kind of see, you can adjust how close it is with this right here in the backdrop. Back out a bit, whatever, and you can see what's going on. Alright, and then so once you add your viewer node, just connect it from the image, and then what you want to do is add another node. Go into, I believe it's distort. No, filter. Sorry, it's in filter. Click the defocus, and then you'll see it'll add a new thing, and just kind of shove it in the middle between there. And this can be kind of separated up by itself, and this is the important guy right here. So you want to change that to hexagonal maybe. That's the octagonal. Make sure you use that buffer. Check off the preview, and you can see immediately in the background we have our image, and it already has defocused, and that's controlled by this f-stop here. And basically what that is actually, before you do anything, just go into the camera, go into the camera tab, and do display limits, and just make sure this is right here with the distance. Just change that to like a 1, and you can fiddle around with this too, find what you like best. But essentially what changes the focus here is your f-stop. Sorry about that, but I just realized the problem was we were on a flat plane where the camera used to be, so when it was over here, there was nothing to kind of put it out of focus, because the idea is that something either closer or farther to the camera is in focus or not. But the problem was that it was such a flat on view, everything was on the same kind of level, so it was kind of hard to get focus out of that. But so what I did is I just kind of moved the camera, so to have a good example, something really close to the camera and something far away, and this is what you get. And you can see like these things are in focus, and you can change that by fiddling either with like the limits or the distance from it. And you can also right here the f-stop, like I was saying before, so you can see now if I do adjust it, it's working. But let's change that to like a 40 maybe. You can see it's compositing, and it should, yeah, there you go. It's working. So you can see you can just mess around with it, and depending on what you like, stick with that. And it's really just all about fiddling and stuff. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah. But hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And yes, I think yeah, so that's it. So we've got 4 nodes, pretty simple. One last look at them. So the image is connected to compositor. And you got the Z to the defocus, and your image to the image on the defocus, and then you just want one more image out here, and that'll just be able to show you what's going on. And when you run your movie, you can have focus. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.